Good morning, everyone. Time for Chapter 2, A Hope's Kiss. Just got to get the file to open here and we're going to be good to go. It's a beautiful, sunshiny day out there today. I even sang, "Oh, what a beautiful morning today." Haven't done that for a while. So we're waiting for the file to open up. Be nice, file, open up for us. And instead of waiting until Saturday, like I thought I might, I thought maybe people would like to have a little bit more sooner. So I'm kind of meeting you halfway. It's Wednesday morning, and we are almost to where we want to be. Here we go. Chapter 2, Hope's Kiss. The bailiff entered the courtroom and commanded, "All rise. The Superior Court of Queen's Bench is in session. Judge Seymour Innes presiding." The judge took his seat, then asked, oh, oops. Judge took his seat. After briefly scanning the documents before him, he ordered MJ to stand up. She pushed up from the seat with both hands and then steadied herself against the lectern as the charges were read out by the petite bailiff who had a booming voice despite her small frame. Marie Jean Hope is charged with possession of illegal drugs, Section 118 of the Act, and for the purposes of subsections 120, 121, and 150 of the Act, reckless endangerment of youth under Section 142 of the Child Protection Act, sedition as of Criminal Code, and terrorism according to Criminal Code 1985. The judge then asked, "How do you plead to these charges?" Without hesitation, she answered, "Not guilty, Your Honor." MJ shook her head in disgust as the judge set the bail at $100,000. With a pained look and a voice soaked in sarcasm, she stretched out her arms, aligned at the wrist, offering them to the nearest officer to her, and said, "Take me away." MJ was used to walking with arms swinging and struggled as the handcuffs impeded her balance and speed. The short woman showed a brave face, but she was horrified at the idea of being locked up. All her life, she had struggled with personal challenges. She'd walked through abuse and poverty, was plagued with chronic illnesses, but personal bodily freedom was the one necessity she'd never sacrificed, except for the final night with her ex husband, Melvin. Her mind raced as she loaded into the prison transport with the other three women. When the van doors slammed closed, MJ began to hyperventilate. The woman seated beside her, a blonde with a Star of David tattooed on her neck, studied her closely, then softly inquired, "First time, huh?" MJ nodded. The blonde added, "It helps if you remember to breathe." MJ lost a deer in the headlights look and laughed, which regulated her breathing. The husky woman with the mohawk to MJ's left spoke up. "I'm Ziva." The second woman to the right spit out snidely, "I'm Judy, Judge Judy. Poor little baby. Boo hoo. First time? What are you in for, jaywalking?" Except for MJ, the other four ladies laughed, at least until MJ softly intoned the word terrorism. Instantly, the hilarity dissolved. The women in the van remained silent until they were unloaded and went their separate ways. It was a struggle to get into and out of the transport with handcuffs because of her fibromyalgia and arthritis. The climb in and out was difficult, but with the exception of losing her balance several times climbing the steps up to the doors of the detainment center, she pulled her shoulders back so her stride appeared more confident than she actually felt. This was a holding area for those waiting for trial for serious crimes. She kept reminding herself to take deep breaths. Every time she remembered the sound of the prison doors slamming on TV shows like Bad Girls, she shuddered and swallowed and felt her mouth go dry. While waiting for the bureaucratic processing, she anticipated the usual ritual rape of incarceration portrayed in movies and split into the path to the emergency rooms she had lain in while doctors and nurses collected samples for rape kits, once in Longview, Texas, and once in her hometown. Despite all the evidence her body provided, both times the perpetrators were never charged. She knew it would be the same in this instance, as this would be institutionally sanctioned bodily assault. But much to her relief, although she was frisked by a woman guard who told her to strip and shower, she was not made to bend over or be subjected to the discomfort of hands being inserted painfully in the sensitive bodily orifices. Thank God for that small mercy, she thought at least. Finally, dry, dressed in prison issue garb, she was shown to her cell. There were two sets of bunks. The only empty one, a bottom one, had need of the rough bedding she held in her arms. There was a toilet, a small sink, a piece of shiny metal on the wall above it. There was a small drawer that fit into the wall at the foot of each bunk. A 6 by 12 by 8-inch drawer was meant to collect the personal effects of each woman. In the empty drawer beside her, she stowed 6 denture tablets, a stubby toothbrush, a mini tube of toothpaste, hotel-sized soap, small box of sanitary pads, a roll of toilet tissue, and a towel sheet when issued. After her minimalist supplies were put away, she laid down to try the bunk. She heard voices, and then the door to the cell opened, and 3 women entered. The first one in said, "Hey ho, new girl," and nodded before she pulled on a pair of purple cat-eye glasses and reclined on her bunk with a thick book in hand. The second woman ignored MJ and went about plugging earbuds in beneath her long, thick red hair, then rolled over, turning her back to them. The third woman, who had several piercings in her face, chimed in, "Just ignore her. That's Nessie, and she's a poor sport. I beat her again at pool. I'm Jasmine." Pointing to the first arrival, she introduced her as Johnny, who briefly looked up from her page and nodded. Jasmine walked over to MJ, sat on the bed beside her, and looked into her eyes as she softly spoke. "Relax, honey. You're safe here. We're all friendly. No one's going to rape you or hurt you. We've all been through enough of that crap in our life." At the moment, MJ began to tremble and then sob. Then tears poured down her cheeks and snot leaked from her nose. Jasmine put her arm around the shaking shoulders and pulled a wad of tissue from the sweater pocket and passed it to MJ, who wiped up the secretions and noisily blew her nose. After she cleaned up, she felt much better. Unfortunately, as her body had begun to relax, it increasingly registered the pain from the fibromyalgia kicking in. She tried not to look at the heavy locked door, but instead focused on the spaces in the room. It was like not looking down when one is afraid of falling. She wondered how she would endure the fibro pain without medication. Often struggling with shallow breaths, she'd remind herself to take deep breaths and mentally repeat her mantra, which was Filio Viti Theo Ini, roughly translated as "I love the God within myself." And that is the end of chapter 2 of Hope's Kiss. And I hope you've enjoyed it. It's Wednesday morning, January 25th, and have a lovely day.